Hello, welcome back to another edition Junkyard Hack. Started a project without you, a little bit of project without filming, but I'm checking in right now to film, and I just want to show you what we're going to do. If you notice, there's black paint along the posts of the Biscayne, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to paint this car black. Now, we're not going to do it the conventional way. That would be get a paint booth, sand it down, get it sanded, stripped down, take all the chrome off. The right way to do it. We're going to do it the hack way. We're not even going to use a spray gun or even spray paint for that matter. We're going to use canned Rust-Oleum, satin black, and I'm going to roll it on with rollers. Now, what I've done here is I've painted this part right up here using a brush. And I used a method that is used when painting in a room or something where you cut in on the tight spots. I just did minimum masking around the chrome pieces, and I cut in right where the posts are, and did that yesterday. First I sanded, obviously, brought it down to about 220, and that's good enough for what we're doing here. You don't need to go any smoother or anything like that. This is satin black. It's no big deal. I've managed to comet wash the hood, the front top fenders, and this top part here, this shelf here I call it, this part right here up to here, because today we're going to try to paint along this edge here. Now, it's cold out, it's about 40 degrees, which is not optimal for painting, but this is the hacked way we do it, and this is at Junkyard Hack, this is the way we do it. We're going to roll this on. I'm going to mask off that chrome trim. I've already cut in there. Don't have to mask that chrome because the windshield chrome is, because I can just open the door and do that. We're going to roll this in, roll that in, and the trunk and the other side, this flat piece on the other side. We're not going to do below this line right here. We're not going to do below that, anything below that today. We're just going to see if we can get this done. So follow along and watch how we get it done. And if you guys are cringing or anything like that, please leave me a comment. I don't care if it's hate or anything. Just please leave me a comment. Bumps up my algorithm. So I welcome all the comments, good, bad, or indifferent. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Okay, before we proceed any further to work on the Biscayne, I just want to take a moment to talk to you about why I do things the way I do it, the hack way, and what have you. I know I take shortcuts. I know I do things wrong. I do things sloppy and everything like that. But let me tell you, there's a purpose. When I was a little bit of history about me. When I grew up, my father was meticulous. He studied to be a machinist in the 40s before he got he went joined the Marine Corps before he got drafted to go into World War II, and he fought in Okinawa. I looked up to the man. I idolized the man. But one thing about my father is different from me was he was meticulous and he did things the right way. Didn't take shortcuts. Didn't hack anything together. He did it precisely. He did it well. Whatever he did, he learned to do properly, and everything, like that. So as far as that goes, I'm not at all like my father. I fall way short of him, and he would probably be rolling over in his grave seeing how I work on stuff. But that leads me to this. Okay, my brother also, a lot older than me. He's passed away since 1996 now, so it's been almost 30 years since he's been gone. And he was also like my dad, very meticulous. Now, I bring my brother up because there's a little story attached to my brother as far as cars go. At one point during the late 70s, my brother bought an old C&P telephone van. Now, for any of you out there who don't know what that means, it's old Bell telephone. They used to use Dodge short body vans. They would be equipped with a 6-cylinder 225 slant 6 and a 3-speed column shifter. They were good for, commuting around town local, but they were not any good for highway speeds or anything like that. But he got it at an auction, and he got it at a song. Now, naturally, when he got an auction vehicle cheap, it didn't look the best. It was pretty well beat up by the time they got rid of it. The engine was worn down, and the paint looked like shit. So he drove it around that way for about two years or so, patched it up, kept it together. Then he decided he was going to restore it and make it nice. So he had visions of putting a window in on the other side. It's another thing. These vans had windows on one side. He wanted a window on the other side, so he went out and bought a special tool that made lips so he could put a window in, spent lots of money on that tool, did it precisely. Took him about a month, but he got a window edge in, a cutout for a window, but he never put the window in. Then he started sanding the thing down. He pulled the motor out of it, took it back to a machine shop, rebuilt the 225. Excuse me, I'm trying to shift arms here because I don't have equipment because I'm a hack and I have to use my cell phone. That's what I'm using, so bear with me. Anyway, he took meticulous care to do everything right with this van, and he had the motor rebuilt, had the transmission rebuilt. He did some of the rebuilding himself, but he did a lot of machine work on it. Spent I'm going to say upwards of, this is, mind you, this is in the early 80s. He spent upwards of maybe a couple $1,000s on this. Now, this is in the early 80s, so a couple $1,000s then was a lot more than it is today. Anyway, machine work for this engine, for this van. So, meanwhile, this is months and months and months are going by, and he's still working on his van, sanding down and everything like that. He's sanding the body. There's a lot of metal to sand. He's trying to get it to where it's perfect. He's sanding, he's straightening, he's filling rust in, the metal the right way by patching, things with weld patches and, learning as he goes and everything. Until, I guess at some point, he got, life came in and life happened and he stopped working on it and the van started to sit. And sit for years. Sat in his carport for years and years and years. And it just sat there. Did nothing with it. Until I'm not sure what happened to it. He wound up selling it, but I'm sure he didn't get anything, any kind of money for it because it was all in pieces and parts. The body was sanded down. There was, pieces missing out of it. Never did get that window finished or anything like that. And he did everything the right way. So I learned a lesson from my brother and also my father, who took way too long to do things that should be, quick, like paint a room in a house. He would take a month to paint a room in a house, and that's entirely too long. It shouldn't take you more than if you're doing it the right way, a week. It takes me about a day and a half because I hack things together, and it doesn't look that good, but it looks better than it did before. That being said, I learned a lesson from my brother. Now, I might go extreme the other way, but I will never sit there and, to me, it's just a waste to leave something in your driveway. I want to enjoy this car, this Biscayne, and I don't care if it's perfect, the paint job is perfect. The fact that this is a 1960 Chevy Biscayne that was rescued from the junkyard is enough. I mean, the way it looks in the state it's in right now gets thumbs up. So if I throw some black paint on it, and it's Rust-Oleum black, satin black paint, it's going to look better. I mean, the ultimate goal is for me to sand that all down and put red, spray red on it the proper way. Well, in the yard, but the proper way with a gun and everything. But for right now, I want it to look better than the primer it's in. I want it to be satin black. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it the hack way, and it'll be done, and it'll be done quick enough for me to enjoy the car. So anyway, that's a lesson for me that I learned from my brother, and it's something I wanted to tell you, all you guys. If you got a project out there, don't be, even if you don't paint it, don't be embarrassed about the way it looks. It's got a different color fender than the rest of the body, whatever. Just get in it and drive it and enjoy it. Get it to where it's running, like David Freiberger says. Don't get it right, just get it running. Get it running and driving and enjoy it. Jump in the car, whatever your project is. Old car or whatever you think, just have fun with it. That's the name of the game. Have fun. Right now I'm dealing with 40-degree temperatures And having to wet sand and scrub Comet Wash, you know, with 40-degree temperatures, using buckets and buckets of water because the hose that I use isn't available. It's got ice in it, and you know, this is what I got to deal with, and this is part of the hobby. You know, you just have to suffer a little bit to get some enjoyment out of it, and it makes a good story after you're done too. But anyway, that being said, anyway, just a little side note while we're doing this project, I wanted to touch on. So, get back to the project.
Go ahead.
Okay, basically to paint with a roller on a car, what you want to do, and this is the hack way, is you get some paint on the hood. You don't bother to use a tray or anything like that because that would be too nice. You pour some paint on the hood, loose amount of paint, you just kind of roll it out. You estimate how much you're going to need, and you always overdo that by a little bit so you have extra paint left over. No, seriously, this is going to work out just fine here. We're going to go this way, and then when we're done, I want to try to make this paint last because I only got a quart today, and I want to get all this covered, and that's a lot for a quart. So we're just going to roll it out, and I'm going to roll it one way like this, and then I'm going to come back and roll it like that. Afterwards, make sure everything's covered. Look closely so I don't have any red primer. I got a lot of paint here to roll out. I started by doing half the hood. Now what you don't want to do, and this is stupid, is paint this area, because when you lean over, you got to lean into it, and you get paint on your clothes, and you mess up your paint job and all like that. So you don't want to do that. You want to do as far away as possible and bring it into you. So anyway, okay, when you get all done painting, just look something like this, and this is satin black, but it's going to be shiny till it dries and sets up. And it's a good time to look over the metalwork and see all the imperfections. And boy, does this car have a lot of imperfections. There is no way that I'd ever want to paint this car black. It is just too screwed up. The hood got creases and dents and stuff on it and everything like that. I opened up the hood so I can get the sides of it, and the front of it were good. Wanted to roll that out good, make sure that looked good. And yeah, it's okay. This hood, by the way, is so screwed up. The whole front of it's rusted and covered with sheet metal and Bondo and kitty hair and everything like that. So really not worried about that hood. If ever I did this car up right, I would get a new hood. It's got a bad crease right there. I tried pulling it out, but the other side is blind from there. So anyway, I don't have the tool to weld those little stick things in and pull it out. And furthermore, I really don't give a shit at this point with this hood. But anyway, this is going to have to be in a two-parter because we're just going to do this part of the car from this line here up and so forth. So we got this part of the car done, and another day when it's a decent day, I can start on the other side. But the one thing about this is you get drips, and when you do, you can roll them out like that. Hey, that was a drip on this side over here. And you keep a brush handy, that way you can get into little areas. I still have to get back there with a brush. And your paint brush should still have paint on it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go, right that. Same thing over here. I might leave brush marks, but at least everything's covered. There we go. And looks like there's a little bit right here. That's better. Anyway, this is still wet, and I still have about an hour, about 2 more hours of daylight, so it sets up. It's already starting to set up here in spots where the paint wasn't quite as heavy on the fender, spots on the hood, and everything like that. And I'll As soon as this sets up, we're going to come out again. It'll be about an hour for you. It'll be momentarily for me. So when you have paint that got on the chrome or anything like that, one of the tricks to getting this up is a rag with some gasoline on it. Not the most safe way to do it, but as long as the paint is still new, not quite set up yet, you can get it off with gasoline. So there you go. And when you do things the hack way, it's inevitable. You're going to get drips on the chrome. And keep that gas and that rag handy. There you go. That's a little piece right there. See that? Gone. I gotta work on that a little more, but you get the idea. Okay, it is about 2 hours later. It's still setting up. Still see the top where the paint was heavy. It's still wet, but for the most part, half and half, I should say. It's starting to set up. You can see the hood is starting to flash off, everything like that. So anyway, this is, like I said before, this is going to be a two-parter, and this is part one of this video. And here you go. So it's a hack way, but when we're all done, it'll look a lot better than it does now. So adios. See you later. Have a good one. God bless.